Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Endzone NFL Preview 2025 edition. We are having technical issues.
It's a delay.
It's okay. There's a delay. So we will just have to deal with it the best we can. I'm actually going to keep one ear open here so I can hear Fuji a little better. But welcome. Fuji is here with Fuji. Thanks for coming on. Even though we have a little bit of an issue.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. We are going to go around the country. We have many guests coming on. Fuji, if you want to introduce the first guest, and then we'll bring him on.
I'd like to introduce our first guest, Irie Harris, reporter for the Cleveland Browns. Irie, welcome.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, what's up? Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. How y'all doing today?
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on. Good. Go ahead, Fuji.
First of all, let's dive right into it. What's your
synopsis of the Cleveland Browns 2025 campaign?
Man, synopsis. I mean, I think this is going to be a team that progresses throughout the season. I don't think it's going to be a total stinker the way it was, respectfully speaking, last season. But I think if this team were to sniff 500, that would kind of be a miracle. That's just how it's shaping up to me. It's not so much the team overall being bad. The defense, I think is still stout and sturdy as this. It's more so the offensive inefficiencies, really.
Go ahead, Fuji.
I mean, as far as Joe Flacco starting and Shedeur Sanders being on the bench, I mean, what's your take of the Cleveland Browns record this year?
Yeah, record-wise, I mean, right now I have him at winning 5 games. In terms of in the quarterback room, Flacco is the starter. Honestly, even before the draft, he was already the starter, I think, in my mind, just because of familiarity with the system. We saw what he did almost 2 4 years ago during that month, November, December of 2023, leading to the playoffs. And also, if I'm being honest, like, he's attached to the most recent good times for Browns fans too, so you can definitely win him over with that. And as it pertains to the rest of the quarterback room, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, Gabriel was drafted ahead of Sanders. Gabriel does look really good right now in the system. I understand further why they drafted him and why they said after they drafted him that he was their guy. As far as when it goes to Shedeur Sanders, obviously one of the biggest stories in the NFL, he still is legit. He's not just in the league because of his last name. He has ways to go, obviously, getting rid of bad habits, but he can still make some noise when given the chance.
Right.
I read this too. Look, they drafted him for a reason. The whole Watson thing went sideways. Look, Joe Flacco is not going to make it through a whole season. So, in order for Shedeur to start, Joe Flacco's going to have to get hurt. Dylan Gabriel's going to have to get hurt. How is the team rallying around Joe Flacco?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because when Stefanski had announced Flacco as a starter, I mean, he really seemed to add a little more color than he would when talking about, them rallying around Flacco. I think naturally it also has to do with Stefanski and Flacco being kind of close in age. I think they're both like early 40s as well. But yeah, I mean, they're really around him and happy to have him back in the building. I mean, just the way that the offense flourished with him, I would be a lying man if I didn't note that. Now, in terms of Shedeur and his possibility of being able to play, I do think that naturally that would have to come with, even if it's not injuries, inefficient play, underwhelming play from the quarterbacks in front of him who naturally, because they're ahead of him, will get more chances. Like Gabriel and my man will get more chances, obviously, because he's their third round pick. But as long as he's ready, is what matters.
I,
Because
Irie,
yes,
Irie, as far as Deshaun Watson,
Watson,
what is the situation with him being under contract? Where does
where
he
does he
fit on
fit
this
on
team?
this team?
yeah, that's a good question. It's funny that you mentioned that because there was a report recently in terms of like the of Stefanski, Andrew Barry, and Jimmy Haslam seeing him work out recently, and they like what they saw. Right now, I believe he's on the reserve slash PUP list, so he's non-active right now. But I believe they have to make, per sources, some kind of decision, um, by October, and and kind of go from there. But right now, I mean, he's not. It, and honestly, it's something that's been kind of in the back of my mind too. It's like, okay, when I'm writing, like we're not bringing them into contention for a quarterback or saying he's going to bring that, but at some point, because it's still within the deal, you have to think: is there a possibility in which he could come back this season, even possibly late into the season? I think being on the active roster could be a possibility.
Do you think? Do you think there's a possibility Deshaun Watson could be traded by midseason?
If if somebody is willing to take the ground, the rest of the deal, I mean, how many? I mean, even just thinking right now, like the number of teams out there that need a quarterback that either they drafted one or they're putting all their eggs in the basket for Arch Manning or somebody. So even if he were to get traded, I don't think he will stay in that destination very long and will probably be on the move elsewhere while losing money on en route into that.
Just real quick, Irie, you don't think that they would tank to get Arch Manning based on what I know the first game Arch Manning has and all that great, but I wasn't really high on Arch Manning anyway, being at Texas. But look, they've got three decent quarterbacks. Why would you want to tank for an unproven commodity?
That's a question that you would have to ask if Barry and Haslam and company. I too saw the pictures of them all at in Ohio State. Stefanski was asked about that this past Monday, and he was like, "Yeah, it's fun." I laugh because it kind of painted as though you just took the family out for a weekend in Columbus. Like, no, you're on the job. We know what it is. There is a possibility of that, though, from the way things could be shaping up. And I think it's honestly more so just seeing by, because I do agree with you. It's like, okay, you use two draft picks on two quarterbacks. Why would you think to get this quarterback?
Exactly.
Then it's kind of like going backwards, and you could have used those picks for in other positions. I mean, that's really the whole grunt of it too, right? Like you use like four picks you use on two guys within the same position, two quarterbacks and then two running backs. It adds more questions to the direction if they're using picks, which I thought was a good draft performance overall. But why would you throw it all away for, respectfully at the moment you're speaking, a guy that wasn't able to beat out Quinn Ewers if he's that much of a generational talent the way people speak about him?
So overall, back to what you were saying, you believe about 5 or 6 wins for the Cleveland Browns?
It 6 wins would be the max, and I think that would just knowing the division as well as I think I do, like that would have to come from like a couple of those like divisional wins that people weren't expecting, like they beat Baltimore one time, they get Pittsburgh, maybe one time. Like I think it would take those kind of wins. As far as the non-divisional schedule, there are other wins I think would come against like a Tennessee or Chicago, other meddling teams still finding their way as well. But yeah, 5 to 6 wins would be the maximum with Flacco in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Irie Harris at Irie_Harris on the Twitter machine. He says writes about sports, kind of based. Browns reporter at Cleveland.com, at Big East Bros Pod, at PVAMU 21, at Newhouse houses you. Irie, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the season, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Anytime. I look
Will.
forward to my return. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Irie Harris. Because of the Cleveland Browns, look, dumpster fire now for other than maybe having one or two good seasons in there. Look, Flacco's getting old. Not going to make it through the season. What say you about the Cleveland Browns this year? I think it's going to continue to be a dumpster fire.
It's been a dumpster fire. How many years have they gone to quarterbacks like they're changing underwear? I mean, it's seriously, it's a joke. Like, I mean, first of all, Modell moved the Browns out of Cleveland, goes to Baltimore, wins 2 Super Bowls. Then you get an expansion team, and you still get the same damn thing. It's friggin'. I mean, if it's hard. I mean, if Philadelphia was like this, we'd probably torch and move a Carolina like down at the same time. I mean, it's a flat out joke. Raiders, the Jets, the Browns, you might as well go there. All 3 cities for your career down the turn.
Combine
Why not? Just get one big organization, one big shit show. That's all it is.
If you cannot, Fuji here at Money Plants, this in Limerick, Pennsylvania. If you're hearing a lot of racket in the background here, it's because we're having a fantasy football draft. It's getting kind of testy. That's why I really don't do them anymore because it gets so testy. So, but again, we're here at Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge with tobacconist. Come on down, have a cigar. I think he's having a Monte Cristo special right now. I forgot to ask him. If he's having the Monte Cristo special, you come back here at BYOB, bring your own beverage, sit back, kick back, and have a cigar. Again, Irie Harris there, speaking on the Cleveland Browns. He's thinking 6 wins max, and that's if things really have to fall in place. Look, just looking at the roster, Jerome Ford is going to be their starting quarterback because Quinshon Judkins is dealing with what he has to deal with legally. Dylan Sampson, not a bad backup. Look, their offensive line has been reworked. The wide receivers right now, Zaman Thrash and Cedric Tillman. Not really barn burners there, not really household names. And of course, you have David Njoku, who's probably going to be the main receiver of Fuji this year for the Browns. Again, I don't think Flacco's going to make it through the season unscathed. I still think he's probably either going to get hurt or something's going to happen. He's going to come up against one of the stalwarts. He's going to have a suck-ass game, and then he's going to get yanked.
Definitely bringing up the rear in the NFC North, or the AFC North, that is.
Yes, the AFC North. You got your Cincinnati, you got your Pittsburgh, you have your Baltimore. Dare I say they could be 0-6 just off the division.
True. Dumpster fire.
Hopefully coming up soon. Go back on the list. I have all my notes right here. Hopefully coming up at 16.
Marcus Renard McCallum from 1410 AM Chicago, jumping on about the Chicago Bears.
Bears, obviously, who I think are also another dumpster fire. Fuji knows this. I've said it to him before. I was not sold on Caleb Williams coming out of college. I thought he was a little bit of a head case coming out of college. I didn't see the point of the Bears drafting him first overall. He knows this. Fuji was dead on about Jaden Daniels last year. I was not. I thought Daniels would struggle as well, but the Commanders are proving the Bears to be absolute buffoons.
Yes, sir. I mean, they built a team around Caleb Williams. Thing is, Caleb Williams has to produce. I mean, they rebuilt that offensive line. Now they drafted what's his name?
Loveland from
tight end there. Hey, look, it's not like they don't have people in place either. They've got a decent running back stable. They have Roman Dunze, DJ Moore at wide receiver. Look, if
Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet. If it's not this year for them, and I expect them, Fuji, to be honest with you, do a lot of 2 tight end sets with Loveland, with Kmet. In fact, I'm looking at ourlads.com, which gives you the shot of depth. They are actually predicting Poston Loveland to be the starting tight end.
Right.
As far as the offensive line goes, again, like you said, it's retooled, it's reworked. If you see, Fuji and I are looking back and forth at one another right now. That's why he's looking up. He's looking at me. See me looking up. I'm looking it over at him.
I'm also looking for Marcus and Green.
See, now I don't hear the echo anymore for some reason.
Well, I got my microphone on.
On what? Really low?
Already.
I got you. He's waiting for Marcus to come on. As far as the Chicago Bears go, Caleb Williams, they've put the team around him now. Instead of painting your fingernails black and dyeing your hair, whatever, dressing up like your Dennis Rodman, you have to produce this year because they have you the weapons. And new coach Ben Johnson is not going to put up with his shit. If he sees him struggle in the first 2 or 3 games of the year, and they're going to put in Tyson Badgett. Tyson Badgett, he won the locker room over last year with his play. I think Caleb Williams is going to be on a short leash, but we'll see. I don't know what to make of the Bears. I really.
How many wins are you predicting for the Chicago Bears?
5-12, 6-11. Some people have them in the playoffs. I've seen some idiot prognosticators say they're going to make the playoffs this year. They're going to be one of the wild cards. I don't see it. I still don't see it. I just don't. They've got Swift. They've got Roshan Johnson. Good stable of running backs. Their receiving core is good. They've got the tight ends, Fuji, and I still don't see them making the playoffs.
Well, they got the weapons. It's just the whole wax as far as can Williams get it done. I mean, Ben Johnson's bringing the new offense from Detroit. And, Detroit losing both coordinators. So.
Once again, we're here at Goose's Monte Crystal Lounge at Tobacconist. Again, we apologize for the technical issues. Fuji and I, on our way up here, got stuck on the Sherkill for a while. We would have been here a lot sooner, but we weren't. Look, things happen when you're doing live stuff.
There's always a glitch.
You can see Fuji's blood boiling, his head's getting red. But we deal. We deal with it. Still waiting for
Marcus Renard McCann for 15-10. Hey, Chicago.
Look at the NFC North. Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago. Going to be the same, I think. Green Bay and Detroit, or I think the class of the division. Minnesota moving to mind J.J. McCarthy. Some people in the organization have heard that some injury Fuge. I know he struggled a little bit in fall camp, but they still have Justin Jefferson. Who else do you have?
Jones,
Hawkinson.
I know.
Got the other receiver. His name always escapes me.
He's suspended.
Yeah. Again, it's not like they don't have weapons. That defense is solid. So I think they're going to be in the thick of the race for a wild card.
Green Bay changes the landscape there with Michael Parsons in their defense right now. With all their receivers and the millions of receivers they have, Josh Jacobs. I mean, hands down, I guess you got to say Green Bay is the favorite to win the NFC and everything, especially with the acquiring Michael Parsons last week.
Detroit still scares me with their defense. They're going to score points, but another thing that scares me, we've seen golf with Detroit. He has three good games in a row, and he throws 4 picks.
Well, they lost Wagner out center. I guess around OTAs, he decided to retire.
Yeah.
And Williams, I'm on St. Brown. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta. We still got a potent, high-powered offense for Jared Goff.
So they're going to score points.
It's just, Scott want to choke like he did against Washington in the playoffs, throwing 5 picks.
You don't know how Hudson's going to be coming off the injury
Yeah.
defensively. And again, I still don't trust this defense wholeheartedly. That's why I'll get it out there now.
Right now, Green Bay's
When,
head and shoulders.
yeah. And again, like we said, Chicago, you don't know what you're going to get. Look, the NFC, it's going to be the same players. Philly's going to be there. Washington's going to be there. Green Bay, Detroit. Tampa Bay is the class of the South. And then the West, some people can't figure it out. I still think the Rams are going to be the class of division. I know you think the 49ers are going to be.
I think the Rams, as long as Stafford can hold up with his back, I think 49ers are going to, as long as they can stay healthy, I think they got the easiest schedule in the NFL. They look horrible. They got rid of Diva. They still got Ayuk on IR. McCaffrey, who the hell knows? They picked up Ryan Robinson last week from Washington in a trade.
Yep.
And, who knows what Seattle's going to be with Darnold. Who knows what the Cardinals are going to be like with Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray and company. Still got to, 49ers are just 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. So, it seems like they get there, but they just can't pull it in.
Yeah.
Hal's name even have a job.
Shanahan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still not sold on it. He puts together good games and then he struggles. Just like with the Niners last year.
Yeah, but the weapons around, if McCaffrey gets stay healthy, that's the big question.
Yeah.
And can Ayuk back from injury?
They were decimated by injuries last year. The Rams picked up Devontae. He's huge. Got Puka stay healthy. Cup is gone now. Again, Kyron Williams, the running back, can he stay healthy as well? So, like you said, but the Cardinals on paper are solid defensively. They're going to be okay, but can Kyler Murray take that next step? He's like a little bobblehead back there running around. You never know what he's going to do. You never know what kind of game he's going to have. But look, you have Trey McBride.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. James Conner coming out.
Connor's getting old though.
So
Ray Benson backing him up.
See, as far as who's a wild card, like who's your team? People are not looking at, and you think, you know what? I think this team is not going to be bad, and I think they're going to make some moves.
Well, everybody talks about Tampa Bay, but I think Atlanta's definitely got the weapons. If Penix could get it right, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, maybe, who knows if Kyle Pitts will ever, resurrect his career. I know he's only 24, but who's the opposite? Played receiver London last year, had a pretty good year.
Oh yeah,
they picked him up from the Bears.
The DJ Moore, not DJ Moore.
Not DJ Moore.
Wow.
Hold on.
See, I'm telling my age now. I just turned 57 late in That's it. Pitts is a bust.
Yeah.
There's talk about them trading him. There's big time talk of them trading him.
Maybe to change the scenery, but the Penix could get that. I think Atlanta could surprise a lot of people.
Still need to see it. I still need to see it. Carolina's going to be improved. New Orleans will probably be one of the worst teams in football. When I look at the NFC, who might sleep it would be? I'll throw it out there. I'll say Carolina. The way they played the second half of the year last year, nobody wanted to play them.
The Eagles almost throwing a clunker in that game. Hey, Bryce Young can get his career resurrected. They drafted, they still got Xavier. Well, God, I know they got Rico Dowell. They got Chuba Hubbard.
Cooper Hubbard. Yeah.
Who's a guy they drafted from? I'm trying to think of the guy they drafted.
Gonna make me look it up now.
I'm bad with names.
So am I. I'm telling you, I'm losing my mind. Let me go to their depth chart really quick. If it comes up. I know who you're talking about. Give us a second, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's old age.
Telling you, man,
Excuse me.
I forget keys. Like I'll forget stuff I put in the refrigerator. You know what I mean?
2 seconds.
Like in the last 7 months, I've locked my keys in my car twice.
Yeah.
With it running, by the way. With it running. Carolina Panthers. Now you got me confused. And I don't like to be confused. It's almost 6:30 at night. I tell you what. We're supposed to have a guest coming on, I believe, at 6:30 as well.
Megan Price.
So what we're gonna.
806 Sports and
So what I think we're gonna do.
Amarillo. Talking about the Cowboys.
I think we're gonna take a little bit of just like maybe a 2-minute break. And then we'll come back. So I'm gonna take Fuji off. I'm gonna take myself off. And we're back. Again, we are here at Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist. We're still waiting for some guests to come on. Still having some technical difficulties, but what are you going to do? That's just the name of the game when it comes to online stuff. Fuji knows it. I know it. A lot of people know it. Again, I'm hearing Fuji in my headphones, but there's no. I don't know why. We might be sitting a little bit too close to one another. He is over that, and he in front of a pinball machine. Look, but we ring it. You know what I mean? It's still good entertainment. So what are you going to do? Again, we're still waiting for a couple of guests to come on here. Fuji, you said what was your name again?
Megan
Megan
Price
Price.
from
806 Sports Radio in Amarillo.
Dallas Cowboys. Right, instead of Dallas Texans. Not the Houston Texans, the Dallas Texans.
I hope everybody can hear me okay. I know I can hear Fuji okay. You know, everybody out there probably can hear Fuji okay. There's still a little bit of a delay on his side. It's not delaying for me. I don't know. What are you going to do? Let's talk a little bit about the AFC, Fuji. Again, everybody's sexy picks are going to be Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. Again, I don't think Kansas City is going to make the playoffs this year. I just think they're new now. They did nothing to upgrade their roster. But again, you still have to see it from Buffalo. You still have to see it from Baltimore. You still have to see it from even Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is the only one to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. So until those other teams can actually beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, I know Kansas City again will be a sexy pick. I don't see it.
Well, like you were saying, your usual teams will be there: Buffalo, Baltimore. Well, I know you said Kansas City. You don't think was even going to make the playoffs, is what you were stating. And can Denver possibly overtake Kansas City for that division? Cincinnati. Depends on. You kick the season off with Kansas City, Denver, Friday night, and Sunday night you got Baltimore and Buffalo. Rematch from a divisional game last year in the playoffs. So, we'll see who's definitely got some heavy hitters in the AFC as opposed to the NFC as of right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, Pittsburgh, we're there. Still know we're going to get out of it. You look at some of these other teams. What are the Jets going to do under Justin Field? Tua, you still have to worry about his concussion issues. What are the Chargers going to do? They're going to ground and pound again to play solid defense. I know some people don't think they're going to be that bad. I think they're going to stay. Look, everybody's sexy pick. Maybe make noise.
Broncos are coming off an easier schedule from last year, so we'll really see how they are. They picked up Evan Ingram. They picked up J.K. Dobbins. Had a great year for the Chargers last year. Ingram, great tight end, but he just can't seem to stay healthy. Cortland Sutton. They got Mims. So we'll really great defense over there in Denver. We'll see if Bo Nix can capitalize on his sophomore year with Denver. The Chargers. What's going on with Herbert? They picked up Najee Harris. They drafted a future guy out of Marion. Yeah. Re-up Keenan Allen. Was with the Bears last year. So it's the Raiders, who knows? Chip Kelly offense. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll. Can Brock Bowers step into a sophomore year like the year he had last year. They just picked up Maury Cooper last week. That division, Kansas City's getting older. Kelsey's getting older. To me, the Eagles laid the blueprint on how to beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. And usually when a team lays out a blueprint, usually gets smacked in the mouth. A year later. Let's welcome our guest. The Seattle Seahawks playbook, Mr. Bill Hafstead.
Might take for him to come on again.
Hey, Mike and Ryan.
Difficulties. Mike, doing, Bill?
Hey, doing good here.
I don't mind.
Nope. Again, technical lift is this hour of live online I can hear him. You can hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, Mike. How you doing? I hope you're doing well.
Pretty good. Good, thanks. It's been a while.
It has. I think it's been a couple of years, but it's good to be on the show, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, we're this is my colleague here, Ryan F., host of Endzone. So we're basically just going around the NFL doing our preview show, and we talked a little bit earlier about the NFC West. And what is your synopsis of the Seahawks 2025 campaign this year?
Well, there were some changes in the offseason. I think folks outside of the NFC West may not have been paying attention, but we got rid of Geno Smith. He moves on to the Las Vegas Raiders. DK Metcalf is traded to the Steelers and moved on from Tyler Lockett, longtime receiver. So they kind of did a pretty decent rebuild of the personnel on the offensive side of the ball. In addition to that, they went in and did a complete rebuild to the coaching staff as well. Clint Kubiak comes in, replaces Ryan Grubb as the offensive coordinator. You guys are probably familiar with the Kubiak family tree. Gary Kubiak there in Denver. That all started, in San Francisco a long time ago as well. And so Clint brings in, I think, what Mike McDonald wants as far as the identity of the offense is concerned. A team that's going to run the ball. It's going to be physical. They're going to use play action. Their offensive line is going to work in sync to open up holes, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot different, a lot more coordinated than it was last year with Ryan Grubb. It seemed a lot, really fairly disjointed. I think the team finished in the bottom third of the league in rushing the ball, efficiency rate, and so on and so forth. And then you combine that with the defense. If you take a look at the last 8 games of last year, Mike McDonald's defense was a top 5 unit. Finished the year with poor performances in the front half of the year. Still a top 10 defense overall with EPA and some advanced stats. So the expectation is you want to run that back from the get-go this year, and you incorporate that offense that hopefully is a little bit more efficient, gives you more opportunity in the red zone, completes a few more third down opportunities, and this team's pretty solid.
From what I was hearing, Clint Kubiak likes to a lot of screen passes, especially Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Also, they bring in Cooper Kupp. Can you touch a little bit on the passing game?
Sure. Yeah, they do like to do some play action. Yeah, like to do some play action passes. They're going to pass the ball out of the backfield a lot more. I think Ken Walker had about 45, 50 receptions out of the backfield last year. I think we can expect that to go up to about 75 receptions this year. They're going to run a lot more 2 tight end sets. They drafted Arroyo. AJ Barner's there to be kind of your do-it-all tight end. And then on the offense, you mentioned Cooper Kupp. We don't know exactly which Cooper Kupp we're going to get, Mike. Are we going to get the guy that's been averaging 12 games per year the last 3 years? Are we going to get that guy from 3 years ago who won the Triple Crown for receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns? I probably would think it's somewhere in the middle, hopefully, for Seahawks fans. He's going to give you, a good 14 games. And JSN is there, Jackson Smith and Jigba, a really nice quality receiver that's going to give you about 100 receptions a year, probably close to 1,200 yards. So a really nice duo up on top there. They drafted a kid in the 5th round that probably should have gone earlier, but had a knee injury last year, and Torrey Horton. had a great preseason, doing a lot of great things in camp. So there's some high expectations there that he's going to slide right in and be your third wide receiver. In fact, they thought so highly of him, they cut Valdez Scantling out of camp, and he actually signed with the 49ers. So all in all, I think, the passing game is going to be complementary, Mike, to that running game. I think the running game thing last year, I think they ran the ball about 38% of the time. I think this year it's going to be closer to 45 or 48%. We saw in the preseason, I don't know if you guys noticed at all, Ryan, you're wearing that Kansas City Chiefs jersey there, the t-shirt. During the preseason, Seattle really ran the ball effectively against Kansas City. And there was a lot to take away from that could translate potentially into the regular season. I'm not saying the preseason is going to be the way the regular season is going to go, but you saw a lot of nice things in that game that gave you hope that the running game can be really effective this year.
Well, I have to ask, what did the Seahawks see in Sam Darnold? Because did they watch the last 2 games of the year, last year? He really struggled. Look, I never was sold on him coming out of USC. I think he has glimpses of what he can do, but it's more of the variety of the last 2 games last year. That's the Sam Darnold that everyone's used to seeing. So what difference is it going to make him going to Seattle? What did they see in him that they like?
Well, I think, it's easy to kind of key in on those 2 games, and I don't blame you, Ryan. They were pretty awful, right? But he was only one of 11 guys on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense really didn't help him out either. So I think it was a combined effort as far as those losses were concerned, but certainly Sam Darnold fell apart down the stretch in those games. There's no question about it, right? But you can't completely discount the rest of the season for him, and it was fabulous. I thought the year prior he spent some time with Kyle Shanahan and Clint Kubiak as his quarterback coach in the San Francisco system as well. Goes over and I thought performed really pretty well in Minnesota, at least during the regular season, right? He's got Jefferson there, obviously, to help him out, and a couple of really nice tight ends, some good blocking up front. I think what Seattle's hoping for is a competent quarterback that fits in the scheme. I don't think that they're going to be asking him to throw the ball down the field and take those big shots at the rate that he was in Minnesota. I think that what they're going to ask him to do is kind of be the point guard of this offense. He's certainly going to be able to take shots. I think if you look at the advanced stats, when he did take big shots last year, he was top 5 in the NFL as far as completion percentage and EPA on those type of plays. And then you're going to just kind of want him to play within the system to be able to give his receivers yards after catch opportunities. He's going to have a nice screen game. He's going to utilize those tight ends. I think he's just going to play within a system more so than he's been asked to do, I think, ever in his career. I think, he was playing hero ball when he was young, trying to do too much, trying to hold on the ball too long, to wait for that last second receiver to become open, and just took a lot of sacks, made a lot of errors. But if you take a look at his touchdown to interception ratio last year, it was pretty good. I mean, 38 touchdowns, something like that, 12 interceptions. I'll take that ratio from any quarterback, really. And I think they're just trying to settle him down a little bit so he just doesn't do too much. And I think in this system, he's got the opportunity really to do that. And we'll just see what happens. I mean, I'm personally a fan before I'm a commentator, right? And I am not wanting that guy that had those 2 bad games at the end of last year to be the guy that shows up. And that would be the worst case scenario for the Seahawks for sure.
Look, Pittsburgh has 3 outstanding tight ends. I think they're going to use a lot of 3 tight end sets. Pittsburgh to take some of the pressure off Aaron Rodgers. They got to get that running game going. Look, they've got Kenneth Walker. They've got Charbonnet. Are we going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets, extra line in there? Look, they really need to get the running game going to take a lot of pressure off the ball.
Heck, Ryan, they've got 2 fullbacks on their roster. How many teams in the NFL can you say that about, right? I think their intent is to run the ball. I mean, that's the intent. Whether or not that translates, right? They drafted Gray Zabel, 18 overall, to be their left guard now and into the future. You combine that with Charles Cross there on the left side, Abe Lucas on the right. They're still looking for a long-term solution at center and at right guard. They've got Anthony Bradford in there for now. Terrific run blocker. We'll see how he does on the pass blocking. They really like Jalen Sundell at center for line calls. Very kind of intellectually gifted guy who's able to do that really well. We'll see how that translates as far as his athletic ability, getting out in space and that wide zone stuff. But yeah, AJ Barner, Elijah Arroyo, the kid they picked up in the second round of the draft. I thought Elijah Arroyo probably has first round talent, but last year at Miami was really the only year that he was healthy enough to be on the field full time. And I think that given the opportunity, he really showed that he could catch the ball and be fluid in space and also come in and give you good effort in line. So they're really looking forward to that. He had an amazing camp where he caught all sorts of balls, showing his athletic ability, one-handed catches, all that stuff. Eric Selbert's a guy they brought in, ex-49er, to be the stability piece, veteran presence there for an inline guy. I do think they run probably, I'm going to say 50 or 60% 12 personnel this year as opposed to 11. So 2 tight end sets. They're going to run that fullback out there for a fair amount of opportunities and really give Ken Walker and Charbonnet the best chance they can to run the ball and run it effectively. I see them potentially, because they're so focused on that, to be a top 15, top 10 running team. I just want to see that average creep up to like 4.5, 4.6, 4.8 yards per attempt, and really give them an opportunity to run the clock and take control of games and let that defense stay off the field as much as possible. And when they come on, they're really fresh and they really get after it.
It's going to pick the Rams. It's just a sexy pick with Cocoon, Devontae Adams. Again, I don't think Matthew Stafford's probably going to make it through the whole season, but we'll see. Cardinals are 49ers, I still know what we're going to get. Brock Purdy still sort of, to me, unproven. Still don't know what we're getting at. McCaffrey's coming off the injury. They've just had a lot of injuries over last year or two. What are you projecting Seattle's win total to be?
That's really an interesting question. We just did a prediction show. I predicted them to have 12 wins. I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm not trying to be way out there, but I do follow the team really closely, and I follow this division, and it's a competitive division. There's no doubt about it. But my personal opinion, and you mentioned some of the concerns I think 49er fans should have. They paid Brock Purdy, but Christian McCaffrey's coming back. He was injured last year. He's been injured in the past, so there's no guarantees how many snaps he's going to give you. Debo Samuel's no longer there. Brandon Ayuk is out probably for the first 8 games this season. Kittle's there for you, right? But what do they have? What else do they have on offense that's going to give you some reliable production? They're I think over reliant on Ricky Parasol to come in and have a big impact. Juwan Jennings has been in kind of a contract dispute. He's had some injuries in the training camp. He's back for the first time today in practice. Seems like he's going to go, but what are you going to get from Juwan Jennings? And so I think there's some big question marks for me on their offense, although I do expect them to be kind of a top 15 offense. It's the defense where I'm really concerned with them. Dre Greenlaw is no longer there. Hargrove is not there any longer in the middle. They drafted a bunch of guys, Mikael Williams, obviously, in the first round. But what can you count on from that rookie class that's going to give you serious production, especially early in the year on that defensive front? And they lost a couple of key guys in the defensive backfield. They brought back Sala to help them out and kind of coordinate that, but I don't expect that defense to completely be ready to play right out of the gate. I think it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to integrate those new guys. As far as the Rams are concerned, Stafford is 37 years old. He missed the entire preseason training camp with an injury. He back to practice the last couple weeks. It looks like he's going to be ready to go, but again, 37. He missed some time last year. That offensive line is questionable in a couple different spots. They've got a pretty decent running game when it gets going. I love their defensive front. I'll be honest. I'm kind of scared of their defensive front. It's young. It's hungry. They're going to get after it with the pass rush on stopping the run. Last year, they were 28th overall in the NFL stopping the run. So I think that's one of their weaknesses. I think Seattle can kind of take advantage of that. And then with Arizona, as long as you've got Kyler Murray, I don't know what you're going to get. I really like the way that they've built that roster the last couple of years, but I think the team only goes as far as Kyler Murray goes, and I'm just not sure he's a big game guy. I think he fades down the stretch, and he's shown that year after year that he's just not been able to show up for big games, especially games late in the season. And I until they actually show it on the field, I think that they're my last place team in the division. So I've got Seattle first, Rams second. I think the 49ers are not going to win many more games than they won last year. Last year they won 6. I think the national media is picking them to win 11 games this year, and I just don't see it. I think that they're probably like a 6, 7, 8 game winning team. And so I think it comes down to the Rams and the Seahawks to take this division.
Bill, do you see Jackson Smith and Jigman and Cooper Kupp filling the shoes of a DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? I mean, is JSN ready to take that next step to be the number one man?
I think that JSN showed you last year that he's ready to take that step. I think that that's why they were comfortable moving on from DK Metcalf. Now, I'm not saying anybody is going to replace DK Metcalf. He's kind of a unicorn, a 1 in a million kind of a guy, right? The physicality, the toughness, a guy that can stretch the field with his speed, can out-muscle, out-physical almost any corner or safety in the league, right? So you're going to miss that. There's no way that you're going to make up for that. I think what Seattle's going to try to do is they're going to make up for it with crafty route running. They're going to make up for it with slot receiver play from essentially 3 guys that can play out of the slot. I think the way that Clint Kubiak does his offense is you're going to see a lot of disguise stuff, a lot of bunch formations, maybe not a lot of wide out stuff that's isolated against one corner. I think they're going to play into defenses that want to play zone against them and base defenses because of all those disguises. I think Clint Kubiak showed in New Orleans that his team was one of the teams defenses hated to face the most and played his offensive calls in base defenses the most in the NFL. So I expect to see a lot of that this year from defenses. And I think that opens up a lot of opportunities for JSN, for Cooper Kupp, for Horton, for their tight ends, their running backs coming out of the backfield. I think it's going to be a little bit more dynamic than people think. I think, when people think of this offense, you think of Clint Kubiak, you're thinking vanilla all the way. And that may very well be true, but I think they're going to execute that vanilla really well.
On the Twitter machine, it's at NW Seahawk. Host of the Seahawks Playbook podcast at Seahawks Playbook, voiceover guy, and post-production audio engineer. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Bill, Seahawks are going to finish 12-5, winning the division. Bill, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. Yeah, I would love to come back on and spend a little bit more time with you guys. I want to learn about what you guys are passionate about, but it was a joy to come on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir. Have a good one.
Take care.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Good luck to you this year.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Yep. Bill Allstott, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break. We are in the midst having a couple more guests on, but just going to take a quick break to refresh the drinking beverage. Maybe take a little bathroom break too. So we will be back in a couple of minutes. We will see you then. Oh, yes, technical difficulties. What are you going to do? The power of online live shows. Let's bring Fuji back on here. We're seeing her in the green room. I miss Megan Price. Let's bring her on. Fuji, go ahead. Introduce.
Hey guys.
Hey, Megan.
Hey, Megan.
Oh.
Welcome, Megan Price from 806 Sports in Amarillo, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're cover the Cowboys and your show 3 Checks in a Pod.
Mhm.
Welcome,
Yes.
Endzone on NFL Preview Special. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Was able to. I've been wanting to jump back on with you for a while now, and baseball has just been dominating my life lately. The team that I work for is the AA affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we're currently in first in the Texas League. So we're looking at playoffs contention as well. So just super busy, but this happened to work out. So glad that I was able to come on.
Thank you for taking your time out of your schedule and jumping on with us tonight. Well, just wanted to get right to it. What is your take of the Micah Parsons trade? What's going on down there in Big D? 2 nights away from the season opener up here in Philly. If you could dive into, the state of the Cowboys now.
So the Cowboys are going as I would expected, to be perfectly honest. I thought we were going to move on from Micah Parsons. I was surprised by the destination, though. The landing spot being our arch nemesis that puts us out the playoffs like every other year. So to me, that says that Micah had all the cards in his favor. I think Jerry went to talking too much on his show on Netflix and basically admitted that he went about the process in a way that is not legal. He didn't have the agent present. And while I understand that, like, that's how he bought the team and that's how the man operates, sports has evolved. College athletes all have agents. High school athletes are now allowed to have agents because you need a lawyer to look through your contracts. Like, that's just how it works. And I don't blame these athletes for wanting their agent to be there. You should want that. We saw what happened with Lamar whenever his mom was his agent and what a mess that contract to get signed was a couple of years ago. So you absolutely need to have an agent present. And so I think to avoid, I don't think it was a money problem. Like if the NFL would have came through and levied a fine, I think that's probably just a drop in the bucket of what Jerry Jones has. But I think the penalties that were going to come along with that fine would have hurt the franchise much more than just going ahead and trading him wherever he wanted to go. I don't think the Cowboys are in position to be in contention for the postseason too much. They might be able to make a wild card run. However, I think that's their ceiling at this moment. We did a couple of things for our offense this off season. Obviously, we add George Pickett, and that's huge. I feel like we haven't had a wide receiver option for quite some time now. It's been all CD, and he's been banged up the last 2 years at the end of the season. So I'm very happy to add George to the receiver core. We were able to extend Bland and Ferguson, and then also Turpin. Turpin definitely has earned that extension. Special teams is so important. And while the rule changes have kind of changed some of that, I still think that special teams is very, very important, and Turpin is excellent. So glad we were able to do that. Now at the running back position, question marks. I think we've had question marks there at the running back position for quite some time now. But getting Javonte Williams and then Miles Sanders, I think that is improvement. Now, will it be exactly what we need? I don't know about that. But I do think that's improvement from what we've had. And then drafting Tyler Booker at the guard position was huge. Not a step that we necessarily wanted to take, but we all knew Zach Martin was going to retire at some point. And so we were going to have to draft offensive line. And so I think we did really well in the draft process. Unfortunately, I'm not very happy about the coaching hires, not with the head coaching and not with the defensive coordinator. We were already terrible on the rush defense last year. And I think we're going to continue to be that way. What we were best at was obviously the pass rush. And without Micah, that's going to be rough, So our defense is going to be terrible, and I think our offense is going to be a little bit better than mediocre.
Megan, definitely say this. As a former Dallas Cowboys fan who's gotten sick and tired of Jerry Jones's crap over the years, look, this is just par for the course with him as the owner and the GM. And he believes everything that's coming out of his mouth. I'm glad people are coming around to my way of thinking. I said it for the last 28 years. It's his toy at this point. He gets to play with it. He gets to tinker. Micah was going to get traded. Micah did not want to be there anymore because he knew he wasn't going to win the Super Bowl there. Mm-hmm. He wanted to go somewhere he was going to win a Super Bowl. Look, I don't wish anything bad on the man, Megan. but until he's out of the equation,
Same.
I'm sure that Steven and the kids will take over the franchise, but he's never going to learn. And I've said this before, Megan, and I'll say it again. He couldn't stand the fact that Jimmy got all the credit, put those rosters together when they won the Super Bowls, and even when they won it in 96, 95, 96, Megan, they were still Jimmy's players. And he swore
For
up
sure.
and down he was never going to let that happen again. And
I agree.
until he's gone from the equation, Megan, this is just how it's gonna be.
I agree. When Micah was asleep during the preseason game, he was asleep on the table right there. I think that was all of us. I think we're all just exhausted and tired of what the Cowboys promise to be every year. And while you can't knock the man for being a businessman, because obviously he's incredibly good at that, it's been at the expense of winning, and the fans are tired of it. So I made a resolve last year that I was not going to let the Cowboys ruin my Sundays. So there might be a few Mondays or Thursdays that don't go well. And I kind of anticipate this opening night probably not to go great. I got us going probably. I have us losing, but I don't think it's going to be just a complete blowout, but at least probably a 10 to 14 differential there on point wise. So like I said, I think our offense will be okay. I think that we will be able to capitalize on the Eagles not having Darius Slay. So there will be a couple of areas where the Cowboys look okay, but it's not going to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Andy Robish, the only thing that comes out of his mouth is poo-poo.
Oh, well, I'm a Cowboys fan for life, but it hurts sometimes,
Megan, as far as the running game, do you see? I don't know if it's Jaden Blue or Jalen Blue. Do you see him taking over being the number one back for the Cowboys?
Jalen Blue, yeah.
Do you see him being the number one back?
It's yet to be seen at this point. It could be, but I think we're just so many question marks at the running back position right now. Like, I think that we made a few moves that could work out, but it's not anything that I'm completely sold on. I don't think we went out there and got Nick Chubb, for example, and even Nick is hurt, he may never be the same again, but we didn't put any big names at that position. Now, fortunately, we've done really well on next man up. So I think we've drafted really well over the last 3 years, especially at the tight end position, because we had injury after injury, and the next man up was always just as good or maybe a little bit better. So, we went from Jarwin and Ferguson. Like, there's been some process there where we kind of lucked up or just really drafted well. And so there's hopes that maybe we did okay there at the running back position, but I'm not ready to sit there and say like we're back to having Zeke and Pollard or, anything like that, because, a lot of people give Zeke flack about how hard he fell off, but we drove all the tread off of those tires. We ran him into the dirt, to be perfectly honest. And even when he still wasn't a good back for us, he'd get out there and block. And so that's something that's absolutely missing in that chemistry with Dak and the offense.
There was a report that came out today, something like Dallas offered Micah Parsons like $150 million in that neighborhood. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, I think that he just wanted out. I think he took less just to get out.
Yeah.
So, I think he really he took less. He wanted out. And I can't say that I blame him. When I knew that we were having contractual issues here, I said, I bet Micah's done. There's been locker room drama for a while now. And Micah is the type of defensive player that needs to have the right coach. And he hasn't had the right coach since Dan Quinn left. So I expected this for quite some time now. I hate that it went to Green Bay, but I'm not surprised that Micah's gone.
You're going to hear a little bit of a delay just because of some of the technical issues we're having. Look, as a former Cowboys fan, why don't the people down there, the fans, just stop going to the games, paying the money to the Millennium Falcon Stadium that they had. I call it the Millennium Falcon, by the way. Why don't they just stop going to the games and saving their money? But Megan, you know that fans are going to continue to pay it. They're going to continue to pack the stadium. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I just say save your money. Stop going. Or show up to the stadiums and show up with your big screen TVs and watch it out in the parking lot and don't go into the game.
Agreed. No, I think we actually will see some of that. I've seen a lot of fans that are really tired. And I'll be honest, I haven't bought any new Cowboys gear in probably 2 seasons. It's been bad. I don't even wear it that often. I mean, it's my team. I'm not going to sit there and give up on my team. However, I'm not spending any money right now.
I wouldn't either.
Not at all. I mean, if that was here in Philly, we probably towards the link the Nova character. That's how like Jeff Hillary got from it, turned into Jerry Jones. Oh, this city go upside down. No lie.
Before we get you out of here, you can't tell me that Jerry Jones looks around the league at the other owners and says, okay, Robert Kraft hires top-notch personnel across the board. The Pittsburgh Steelers organization hires top-notch people across the board. Oh, the Packers do the same thing. They let the football personnel, these top-notch people who we've put in place, the owners just write the checks. But he doesn't do it. He's got to have his hand in every single cookie jar. And if anybody that watched that Netflix special, look, Jimmy Johnson might say that he wanted to get out because it just wasn't fun anymore. Why do you think it wasn't fun anymore?
Jerry. That's why. It wasn't fun anymore because of Jerry. Yeah, it's not.
Anything else, Booch?
I can just one last question. What's the Cowboys' record for this year?
Okay, so I'll go kind of what I expect, and then I'll tell you what I think their ceiling is. I think that it's probably going to fall. The wheels are going to fall off of it probably by the second third of the season. So week 12 is when we're going to start looking really bad. Injury probably going to be an issue. We're going to see that the coaching is really subpar, and we're probably going to be pretty penalized as well because we love that. So I'm going to say I think that we have a chance of having a winning record, but I think that's our ceiling. So 9-8 is our ceiling, and then what I actually think we're going to be is probably 6-12. Which I'm okay with. I think that we really need to focus on the rebuild and draft better and start thinking about our future. So that means we're going to have to be bad for a few years.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Megan Price. She covers the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately. Tell the people where they can get a hold of you, where they can read your stuff, or where they can listen to you.
Absolutely. So you can just search the Queen of Hoop and you will find me on Instagram, X, or Facebook. You can search the Chicks Podcast on any of your podcast streaming, or we have a YouTube channel as well. And if you are into AA baseball, go to MILB TV and watch the Sod Poodles, the Amarillo Sod Poodles, and I do production for them. So we put on a pretty good show.
Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me on. I enjoyed it.
You're welcome. Take care of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Megan Price. Foods. The Cowboys are going to get their ass kicked on Thursday. You're going to hang that Super Bowl banner. That place is going to be rocking at the link. If anybody, other than Cowboys fans, think you're muted, by the way. Everybody thinks that the Cowboys are going to win Thursday. You're mistaken. Anthony Miller says, I wouldn't buy a jersey referring to the Cowboys. He also goes on to say, Jerry Jones is a GM. I made the fear them a little. I don't even know about that. Hey, Mr. Ryan, tuning in. Thank you for tuning in, Ryan. He says, birds, not devils.
Go Birds. Thanks for checking in, Anthony.
Yes, sir. Fuji, when it comes to the Cowboys, you know how I feel. And Ryan, yes, Ryan, we're aware. Haven't been able to figure out the problem. Fuji mutes his mic, the echo goes away. So it might just be that with the fact that we're in the same room. I don't know. We have noise reduction on, tried to figure it out. I tried to move farther away. There is a fantasy football draft going on in the other room. So anybody that watches my shows knows the technology shows a red hot poker. Not mine. When it comes to the boys, what's your prediction?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I say when it comes to the Cowboys, what's your prediction? As
7-11. 7. Yeah, Mr. Culver Line. Michael Kaepernick Jr. checking.
Michael Kaepernick Jr. Eagles. Ryan Swope says, "Don't choose any cow." Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Fuji knows this about me. I ditched the Cowboys in 2014 when they signed Greg Hardy, knowing what he did to his girlfriend. Couldn't do it anymore. Can't. Well, the man's there. I don't wish anything bad on him, like I said. I just can't do it until he's gone from the equation. Mike Kaepernick Jr. says Eagles 32, Dallas 16, somewhere in that neighborhood. Somewhere 33-20, 31-17. Fuji is still on the horn. I sent the emails out to everybody. But again, technology showing the red hot poker up my ass. That's the only way I can express it there. Fuji is still muted. But Fuji, why don't you hit us with, you know what I'm going to ask you?
Well, I hear the background of this fantasy football drift, which is parking the friggin' shit. And I'm trying to hear you. I'm about to go in that room, put our audio on blast.
Fuji, you just didn't hear.
I didn't hear you say it. No. You always do this. I'm not doing it.
What do you think about that? That's the Rovers 43 Eagles.
Would be nice, but hey, that second, opposite of Quenya Mitchell is still a little questionable. You let Slade walk. You think Kaylee Ringo's going to come in and get the job, and then you got a Dory Jackson, and why can't I think of the gentleman we got from Raiders? Does anybody want that second job opposite corner of Quenya Mitchell? Remains to be seen. I think hate to say it, but that could be an Achilles heel for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Will be under most likely. It is 21 the hour. And I know there's an echo. I wouldn't know where else to unless I go sit out in the parking lot. But anyway, hopefully.
Get rid of that Kansas City jump toast.
He's telling me. Yeah, I'm trying to do whatever you want here too.
Got it up real nice.
We are here at Goose's Monte Cristo Rooms and Tobacconist. We're here in Limerick, Pennsylvania. If you're local, stop in, have a cigar. You might have a beverage. That'd be keen too. Look, I think the Cowboys are going to stink. I don't think Jerry cares, to be quite honest with you. At this point, it's just a fucking toy for Jerry to play with. He won his 3 Super Bowls. He still thinks he's relevant. He's not. He might be relevant, but it's not in the right way. What else does Michael say here? But now the Eagles secondary will have the number 1 defense line rushing the quarterback, not force players. Look, if anybody thinks that Dallas Cowboys are really going to win on Thursday and know what's going to go on at the link, then no way in hell. And if they do, Fuji and other Eagles fans will line up on the Ben Frank
Never.
and heat themselves to the Delaware.
I'm a true Eagles fan through and through. I don't let them go well and say they suck. Because you know this town will turn in the New York minute when you lose one game. The diehards, the real diehards, stay with the team through thick and thin. Don't get my blood boil on the bandwagon. It don't fly. It's a no-fly zone for the bandwagon.
Well, Fuji, you know what's going to happen on Philadelphia radio if they lose.
It's ratings. That blows up the airwaves, money, and whatever.
So that's why I like Fuji as an Eagles fan. He's not one of those. If the Eagles lose on Thursday, Fuji will text me and say they didn't deserve to win.
They beat themselves. There have been plenty of times throughout the years I said, this team may suck. I'm here. Well, let the Titanic, I'm down with it, but if you beat yourselves, you beat yourselves. I'm a realist. I mean, I've learned to be a realist over the years. I mean, I ain't going to call a spade. You know, when you shit the bed, you shit the bed. There's no excuse to yourself. Unless you get beat hands down. Yeah. But you're not going to win every game to go 17-0. Let's face it, folks. It's the NFL.
You know what happened if they go 0-1. No fans. We suck. We stink. We're not going to the playoffs. Fuji will just say we lost the game.
Well, when you get beat, you get beat. Trying to get on something.
We see another guest in the green room. Let's bring him on. This will be Mr. Kyle Nash. Fuji, would you like to introduce?
Mr. Kyle Nash, how are you? Kyle covers the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome.
Glad to be aboard, gentlemen. Honor, joy, and privilege to do the thing. Good to see you, Fuji. It's been a minute. What was the last time we did with our guy Cool? Over they call
having some technical difficulties.
You're gonna hear a little bit of a delay, Kyle.
Yeah, I know. It's all good.
My screen's frozen. What is going on in Jacksonville with that? I mean, I can't think of it.
I mean, I'm assuming
Trevor Lawrence. What is the synopsis of Trevor Lawrence?
Oh yeah, well, with Trevor Lawrence, listen, obviously the hot topic on him has been in this offseason. This is his best opportunity. And I can see why people would see that, right? First of all, you have De'Ami Brown, who came in, Brian Thomas Jr., who was great in electric last year, coming in as a sophomore. They're expecting him to continue to build. And of course, the whole Travis Hunter build, like we talk about, who's going to be playing both sides of the ball. All of that gets a lot of noise, Fuji. But I'll tell you this, the part we're not talking quite enough about, and I mentioned this on the Duval Dive throughout the offseason, is that amongst the AFC South teams, they have an O-line that's in the most club, which means it's the best O-line in the division because they're actually trying to address the problem of protecting Trevor Lawrence, who has spent a good portion of the past 2 seasons injured, right? I mean, when you got Mac Jones tossing the ball and you're losing to the Vikings in, like, I think it was a 13-7 game, It might have even been less scoring than that, Fuji. I don't remember. But the punchline is, when you got that going on, you got those struggles in place, people ask questions. They have more firepower than now. They have more protection for Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is due to improve this year and get back closer to the expectation.
Can you see the? I mean, you got Travis on it. Right, I said Trevor Lawrence.
They're both important. It's all good.
I know the thing. I mean, how many plays do you see Travis Hunter playing on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, no, and I think he's going to be a guy that's brought in for certain packages, right? He's not going to be on there on every snap. I don't foresee the days of 100-snap games continuing like we saw in Colorado there, right? But I do think he's good for at least 5-10 defensive snaps a game. And the way I've heard it put by my co-host on the Duval Dive, Travis Holmes, and other people in the Duval media is you don't keep the best man for the job on the sideline. That's not the gig, right? But in this particular instance, in the right situations where you're trying to cover a guy down the field, maybe like, for example, maybe it's 5 snaps week 1 here as they host the Panthers, but playing the Bengals, a high-powered offense, you might see more, right? There's a situation there where they have a lot more firepower, and maybe they lean into more Travis Hunter. So, and by the way, Fuji, I'll land the plane with this. It's all dependent on the health of Tyson Campbell that hasn't made it through a season lately, let alone since signing the big contract as their top corner.
Right. Kyle, a question for you here. Look, it's put up or shut up time this year for Trevor. There's no more excuses. He's got weapons. They might not be big time weapons, but he has weapons. Look, I think it's put up or shut up time for him. If he doesn't produce this year, I know he's got the big contract, but it's almost like a Deshaun Watson type situation where they give him a, Kyle, look, somebody signs the big contract. What happens? They either get hurt or they start stinking out loud and then they walk away with the money. So what is the jury still out on Trevor Lawrence, or are fans starting to get sick of it?
I think the line is somewhere in the middle. What I find always fascinating is how Trevor Lawrence is notorious, but we all love CJ Stroud. Newsflash, folks, the length of time they each were in their career, they're about the same guy. And I can't wait to see the number that CJ Stroud's about to get if you're worried about Trevor's contract. Because down the line, the guaranteed money is high, but that can is kicked awfully far down the road, and it's not so many years before Trevor can easily be moved off of, right? It's a relatively friendly contract. It's very close. It's in the neighborhood of maybe like a Brock Purdy, where the money value of the contract sounds like it's a lot, but the guaranteed money, like this ain't Deshaun Watson guaranteed money, and we won't get into any off the field stuff. I mean, the most notorious thing Trevor Lawrence has done is hang out at a Waffle House, right? So, it's a little different situation there too. But I would also combat this year he has weapons. You're right about that. What have his weapons been in the past other than a rookie Brian Thomas Jr. that broke out like nothing else? I love me some Christian Kirk. Super cool guy. Love talking to him. He was your top receiver the past 2 years. I'm not exactly writing home. The guys that people were written off end up with Trevor Lawrence and have great years, right? Evan Ingram was supposed to be a bust till he got to Jacksonville, had a career year with Trevor. Christian Kirk was always in the shadow of Larry Fitzgerald, which, let's be honest, it's easy to get shadowed by Larry Fitzgerald, yet has a career year. The offensive line is better. I think you'll see improvement from Trevor Lawrence because there's a higher chance he gets kept upright. That's where I'm sitting with that.
What about the running back situation? You have ETN, who shows flashes. Bigsby has showed flashes. Is it going to be running back committee, or is one or the other going to take the reins?
Well, and you're starting with Tank and Etienne, and you're right to do that. I would be remiss to not mention Bayshaw, Tootin, and 7th round pick LaQuint Allen. All 4 running backs were retained, and they'll all 4 see time. It's absolutely going to be a committee system. I think Tank is your starter, but I look at this as the term I'm using, whether it makes sense or not. The term I'm using is positionless basketball, man. It's a matter of what they see across from them that I think will dictate who they have out there. And LaQuint Allen, I mentioned him, the 7th rounder out of Syracuse. What we've seen so far is he's the best pass blocker in the group. Now, to your point, with the weapons, if they start stretching the field, maybe the running back won't need to block as hard. But I do see a scenario where the Jags stop having the lowest, or I say the lowest number, the worst yards before first hit among running backs in the league this year. Hell, just get them to 20th, and it'll be a dramatic improvement in the run game. Good question.
So when we look at the AFC, look, Houston's going to be 60 people, but they've had some injuries. Tennessee, I think Cam Ward's going to be fine, but I don't think they're going to be gangbusters. Indianapolis, quarterback situation, horrendous. I don't like it. I think they're going to think. And then you have Jacksonville. I think maybe Jacksonville doesn't vie for the division, but I still think they could maybe possibly not luck into, but go for the wild card, because I just don't see anything out of Tennessee and Indianapolis in the division.
Yeah, listen, all your takes there are super good. I feel how you do about Cam Ward. I think he's something. I just think the Titans aren't quite enough. Listen, I'm just going to put it point blank. Sorry, Colts fans. I think they're in 4th place this year. I think Indiana Jones gets whipped. Okay, that's where I'm at with that group. The Colts in 3rd is where I live. The Jags at 2nd is the smart money, but I'll tell you, the Texans didn't get better. You mentioned the injuries. Also, the offensive line, in my view, took a step back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Laramie Tunsil is a red tail. Sorry, commander now. So, you know, you got to. We'll see how like Trevor Lawrence this crowd is when his line getting worse. I'll put it like that.
Anything else, Susie, do you have for the men?
Kyle, your overall prediction for the Jaguars.
Luigi, unmute yourself.
There you go. Here, we got it. You saying prediction?
My last question. What is your prediction for the Jacksonville Jaguars record-wise?
Yeah, I've been in that realistic state, so to speak. I have them with 8 wins this season. I've heard people go as high as 11. I'm not there, but I don't think 9 wins is out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, maybe I'm off by 1. I think 9 wins or 10 wins wins the AFC South. Hey guys, I get it. Eagles fan, Chiefs fan, much better division, okay? But it's the AFC South. Somebody's got to win it. Why not Jacksonville?
Like frozen
the Jacksonville, it's Jaguars, lady. It's not a Jaguar. It's a Jaguar. Not a Jaguar. It's a Jaguar.
Let's give the European fans a little credit. Jaguar is how they say it over there in England, and there's a lot of Jags fans there. We'll let them have that one.
The Europeans don't give a shit about football. They really don't. I wish they'd stop playing games over there. London, Germany, Brazil, Timbuktu, top of Mount Everest. It's a stupid idea. Europeans care about one thing only, and that's soccer. So, Kyle, tell the people where they can listen to you, where they can read your stuff. Just tell them where they can get a hold of you.
An honor, joy, and privilege to jump aboard, guys. Thanks for having me. And, of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You'd find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, as well as Blue Sky at the SOTG. Check out my Facebook at the student of the game. Check out my writings on the Jacksonville Jaguars and Orlando Magic on Fans First Sports Network, as well as my writing for UCF football and basketball on the Black and Gold Banneret and the Night Shift podcast. And finally, my work with doing, I have a Chargers podcast too. Who knew, right? The Bolt Blitz Uncut with my guy, Berg Peters. And the reason I'm here overall, the Duval Dive, Travis D. Holmes. Thanks again, guys, for having me. But until next time, class dismissed.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, sir. There he is. Kyle Nash. I don't think the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs. What do I know? That's why they play the games. Coming up now. Let's see. Why are you not? Oh, here you are.
Right.
What did you disappoint?
That's these lovely difficulties.
Here we come on with another guest. Fuji, introduce the man.
This is Jeremy Allright of the Detroit Lions. Jeremy, welcome to Endzone as we're going around the horn here with the NFL kicking off in 2 days. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited that the season is here. You know, we're like that guy walking down the street that's married and sees the hot girl walking by. We're the guys that are the fans. That's our spouses, and the hot girl is the NFL upcoming season.
Right. Go ahead, Fuji.
So, Jeremy, welcome. And what is your take of the campaign of the 2025 Detroit Lions?
Well, you know, we've had some major changes, but we just saw this with your Eagles last season. Your all-pro center retired. Ended up putting in a young guy or a replacement center, correct? We had both our coordinators leave, and one of them had been with the team before and came back with us. The other one was promoted from within. Johnny Morton was a part of Ben Johnson's group that helped design that playbook that they used. So he's actually familiar with most of the pieces here in Detroit already. So I don't think there's as big of a drop-off as everybody thinks. And Calvin Shepard was raised in the Aaron Glenn system. The only thing he said he wants to do is blitz and actually use QB spies. Holy shit, a defensive coordinator that'll use a QB spy. We might be able to stop some mobile quarterbacks.
Jeremy, also Frank Ragnow, can you touch on how that may hurt that offensive line for the Detroit Lions?
Well, last year when Ragnow was out, Graham Glasgow did a great job at center, and Christian Mahogany filled right in at left guard. That's why they put them there this year. I don't think it's as big of a deal as everybody thought. Did they give up a sack or two between the two of them? Yes, but that was over 4 games. So, because Ragnow missed 4 games last season.
Look. They're going to score points. But my concern, Jeremy, is on the defensive side of the ball. Hutchinson's coming off the injury. We don't really know what they're going to get defensively. I mean, as far as you go back to the playoff game, though, Jeremy, we all know what happened in that playoff game. They're going to score.
Let's talk about that.
33 points. Go ahead.
Let's talk about that game particularly, because remember the first 2 drives while Amik Robertson was on the field was stopped. They didn't score a point those first 2 drives. As soon as he fell and broke his arm, the defense fell apart. Because what helps a mediocre defensive line? Good coverage from the secondary. As soon as the secondary fell apart, the defensive line fell apart. Because if you watch those first 2 drives, there was pressure. There may not have been sacks on them, but there was pressure on Jaden Daniels. Yeah, we get to face Micah Parsons, who's dealing with a back injury where he has to have prednisone shots just to relieve the stiffness right now. They've already said he's going to be limited as to how many snaps he's played. And let's see what happened 2 years ago when Micah was in the game when Detroit played him last time. Oh, yeah. He had 1 sack in the first quarter and disappeared the entire second half and gave up over 200 yards rushing in that game where we almost won.
Offensively, Gibbs, Montgomery, Brown, Jameson Williams. Again, they're going to score points, but they're going to have to. Once that defense comes together, maybe it'll be a little bit different story. But when you have the 2-headed running back that they have, it's got to take a little bit of pressure off of Goff. Because look, Goff has good games, 3 or 4 in a row, and then he has that proverbial stinker where he throws 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. So what we're hearing from Detroit Lions camp, what Goff has worked on specifically in the offseason to get those interceptions down.
Well, he's always been a 2-to-1 interception ratio guy, and it was 2-to-1 again last year. I don't think it's as big a deal as everybody's making it out because 10 of them came in 2 games. One of them they won, one of them they didn't. So
but it's at the most. It always seems to be at the most inopportune times is when he has bad game.
well, the one was the Texans game, and it looks like after that first half that he threw 4 of those picks, and then one on the first drive in the second half. What happened? We turned around and scored 27 points in a half to win the game. So I'm not as worried about it because, Goff is one of those guys that rebounds. And if you actually look at that, he only threw 3 picks versus the Commanders that game. One of those picks was thrown by Jamison Williams.
Jeremy, how big of a loss is the loss of Herndon Hooker? I know he got picked up by the Carolina Panthers last week.
I don't think it's that big of a loss because he didn't pan out. He never improved. If he'd have improved a little bit, they'd have kept him on the practice squad at least. They said just before the cuts were made, it looks like it's time for him to have a change of scenery. And maybe down there with Dave Canales, who seems to squirt QB juice over bad QBs and makes them look good, like Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield after he looked lost. And now he did the same thing in season with Bryce Young. Maybe he can help him become a better quarterback.
I think you touched on this earlier, but I was having some difficulties on my end. How big of a loss is Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn to your offensive, defensive coordinator positions?
I don't think it's as big a loss as everybody thinks. Like I said, both the guys have been a part of the organization. One was helping develop that playbook with Ben Johnson and Jared Goff. And the other one, Calvin Shepard, has been our linebacker coach and our defensive passing game coordinator. And I think he's sick of not blitzing too, because even though we had a lot of pressure, the blitz rate wasn't that high last year because we refused to blitz more than 4 guys most of the time.
Anthony Robish, I think the 2 new coordinators are actually going to hurt them, in my opinion.
Well, that guy probably said that about the Eagles last year, and where'd they go after having a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator?
Exactly.
So what say you? Detroit, Green Bay, going to come down to those 2 in the north.
I think it's going to be Detroit. I think Green Bay takes second. I think the Bears take third and the Vikings take last.
Really? Interesting.
I think they got a great defense. They got a great. Look at what's happened. They're missing Addison for 3 games. Naylor's going to be out for almost half the season. They had to bring back a 37-year-old Adam Thielen just to have a wide receiver too. And then Jay Jetta's dealing with a hamstring injury, and they still don't know if he'll play Monday night.
Anthony Robish says, I think Lions take the north for sure.
I think our record will be 12-5. I think our record will be 12-5.
Okay. Fuji, anything else?
No, I'm just breaking up over here a little bit.
Oh,
You're out. Lions record for 2025.
12-5.
12-5, you said.
Yeah.
Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. The power, ladies and gentlemen, of live internet shows. So you say 12-5, Detroit wins the North. Ladies and gentlemen,
Green Bay is going to have 11 wins. Green Bay will have 11 wins. Chicago will have either 8 or 9, and I think they fall down to 7 with the Vikings. I just think having a first-year starter who's never taken a snap, never had a full off season of working out, is going to struggle.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy, is it all right?
Yep.
Tell the people where they can get a hold of you, read your stuff, listen to you.
Okay, my podcast is on YouTube. It's on 2 different channels. It is on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions. It is also on the Huddle Sports Network, which is simulcasted into a app on Roku and Fire Stick. You can find my writings, because I write about the Lions, on the South Florida Tribune website, which owns the rights to the Motor City Tribune.
Jeremy, enjoy the season. We'll be picking your brain.
Have a great day,
Thank you,
everybody.
Jeremy, for coming on. Good luck this season.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
I have actually tried to put my laptop in different parts of
Maybe
the lounge here.
Maybe it's that door we got on.
There's just yeah.
Maybe it's just stone. Maybe it's just stone mixing.
Anthony Obish wanted to know what kind of cigar I had. It is an Asylum 13. Which the fucker can't stay lit for some reason. I don't know why. Just
That's a big stove.
it's a big stick, Nick. We got about 13 minutes left, Fuge. So let's make our picks. We'll start in the AFC. Your AFC East winner is who?
Buffalo Bills. Are we just doing division winners, or are we going up and down?
Just AFC East. Who do you have in order?
Buffalo, New England, Miami, Jets.
I have Buffaloes, the New York Jets, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots. AFC North, Central, whatever the hell they call it. Give me your picks.
North, I got Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland bringing up the rear.
I have Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. Your AFC South.
AFC South, I got Houston, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Jackson.
I'm going to go Houston, Jackson, Tennessee, Indianapolis. AFC West.
Denver, Kansas City, Chargers, and the Raiders.
I have Denver, Kansas City, Chargers, Raiders. NFC East.
Of course, the home team, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, the New York Giants, and the Dallas Cowboys.
I have the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. NFC North.
Well, I had to redo a revised edition. I got Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago.
I have Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago. Cowboys, Giants, and Rovers.
I think the Giants are going to surprise some people this year.
We'll see.
Got to hold the defense in front.
Still don't trust Russell Wilson.
I don't trust that. That's another.
NFC South.
NFC South, I have Tampa Bay Bucks, the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, and the New Orleans.
Same here. NFC West.
I got the Rams, San Francisco, Arizona, and Seattle.
That's what I have as well. So who are your playoff seeding? Not seeding. We already know. Who are your playoff teams going to be from the AFC?
The AFC is going to be San Francisco, Atlanta, and Detroit.
Those are your wild cards from the NFC? Wild cards from the NFC. Washington, Detroit. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Your division winners, yeah, the Eagles,
Tampa Bay,
Green Bay. Okay. And I have Philly, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Rams. AFC. Who are your wild cards?
My wild cards are Cincinnati, Kansas City, and the Chargers.
Wild cards are Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I'm going to shock a lot of people when I say this. The Jets.
Interesting.
Division winners we already have. Fuji in the AFC is going to play for the AFC Championship?
I got the Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Who wins?
Ravens.
So you have Baltimore in the AFC going to the Super Bowl. NFC. Who plays in the AFC Championship?
Eagles and the Green Bay Packers.
Who goes to the Super Bowl?
Philadelphia Eagles.
So you got Ravens, Bengals, Super Bowl.
Ravens. You said Ravens.
Eagles Super Bowl.
Yeah.
AFC. Anthony Roberts is saying he thinks the Bills will go to the Super Bowl. He has his NFC West. Since the Rams place, I don't agree with San Francisco. And he also says I can see the Giants win 7. In the AFC, the Bengals and the Bills. And the Bengals will go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. In the NFC, I have the Packers against the Rams in the NFC Championship game. The Packers will go to the Super Bowl. Really going to Jerry. Cincinnati play Green Bay in the Super Bowl. And my Super Bowl champion, yours Cincinnati Bengals. I know I got a lot of pushback on it, just from the standpoint, you trust the Cincinnati defense. I don't think it's going to matter. The way Cincinnati played at the end of last year, Burrow should have been the MVP. If he wouldn't have had the first half of the season like he did, I just think Cincinnati's on a mission, and they will win the Super Bowl first. Oh, I forgot to ask. Who's your Super Bowl one?
Eagles.
It's such a homer.
Better than Ravens. Yeah, that's your nickname. For everybody that wants to know, that's the ring cheese. That's why he chased Dallas and jumped on that bandwagon, then he went to Big Red State.
Remember, I was rooting for Kansas City for Patrick Mahomes got there. Anthony Robic, NFC, I believe I'm not the Eagles. Eagles beat Niners. Making Bills and Eagles Super Bowl. Because Bills wide. I don't even have to ask win the Super Bowl. The Eagles go back to back. We have 5 minutes left, which we don't have to actually go to 8 o'clock. What are you looking for in 2025 NFL season?
Well, congratulations to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I don't want to see Taylor Swift on every touchdown up in the damn booth. Keep her out of the NFL. It was good while it lasted. It's football. We know the NFL wants to sell Taylor Swift and the whole the whole dream. And they want to attract fans. Just keep Taylor Swift out in the NFL. I won't watch any Chiefs games, maybe except against the Eagles. Don't need to see her 20 times a game.
Anthony Robic, of course. He said you'll also see more of Taylor Swift.
God forbid, I hope.
Hey, look, I'm a Chiefs looking tired of seeing her. Stop showing her. Look. They get married. 2, 3 years when he retires. He's going to be around her all the time. She'll get sick of him. He'll get sick of her. That'll be your next. That's what she needs. And then she'll move on to something. Maybe she'll move on to market. Maybe she'll move on to Dallas. Trey McBride. I don't know, but we'll see. What I'm looking for this season, again, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, go back over the last years. See what's happened to Super Bowl losers from the previous year. They usually stay, and they don't make the play. That's why I say, I love the Chiefs. Chiefs are my something else. I want to see how the Eagles respond on Super Bowl win. I want to see how some of these other teams do, like the Panthers, like the Cardinals. You're big on Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward will have a decent season like Bo Nix did last year. I want to see how the Jets feels. What are the Steelers game plan going to be with Aaron Rodgers back there at quarterback? Anthony Rowe definitely needs a divorce respect thing. Of course. It's par for the court. But look, the NFL returns on Thursday. You know what, Fuj? We got a couple minutes here. Let's do the picks for this week's games. I'll pull up the schedule here. Oh, you don't? I'm just going to make them now. Let me pull up the schedule. We'll do. It'll be bang, bang, bang. We'll go over 8 o'clock a little bit. I'm trying to pull up the schedule now as we speak. Again tonight, sorry for the technical difficulties. Again, and I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Anybody who watches these shows knows that I get fisted by technology. This is supposed to help you. Technology is supposed to help you. And most of the times with me, it doesn't. Well, everybody knows across the board on Thursday's game, there's no way in hell, Fuji, that the Cowboys are going to win. The Eagles are going to win on Thursday. Who you to pick Friday's game? The Chargers Chiefs. I'm going to go Chargers too. See, I'm not a homer. I have.
You don't have to say it. So you have it. Everywhere.
Listen to you with the 26 Saquon Barkley, Duke Green.
Of course.
Rovers picks the Chargers.
Number one player.
Rovers picks the Chargers. Sunday's games, Buccaneers, Falcons. Who you have?
The Bucks.
I'll go with the Bucks. Bengals, Browns. Bengals. Dolphins, Colts. Dolphins at the Colts. I agree. I think it'll be closer. Raiders at the Patriots.
Patriots.
Absolutely.
Great man.
Cardinals at the Saints.
Cardinals.
Interesting one. Steelers at the Jets.
Steelers.
I'll go Steelers. We're only favored by 2.5. Giants at the Commanders. I think it's going to be the Commanders.
Giants.
Okay. Panthers at the Jags. I got the Panthers. Here's an interesting one. 4 o'clock. Titans at the Broncos. Broncos. 49ers at the Seahawks.
Niners.
I'm going to go Seattle. I don't know why. Big one. Lions at the Pack.
What's that? Sunday.
That's Sunday, 4:25 on CBS. Robish takes the Niners. I'm going to go with the Packers. Another interesting one. Texas at the Rams. Rams. The Sunday night game, ladies and gentlemen. Ravens at the Bills.
Baltimore.
I'm going to go Buffalo.
Monday.
Is it Monday? No, it's Sunday night. The Monday night game, Vikings at the Bears.
Vikings.
Got the Vikings. Ladies and gentlemen, again, apologize for the technical difficulties. We tried. It is 8 o'clock. Goose will be closing up here soon. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Anthony Aerobis picks the Vikings over the Bears. We thank you so much for tuning in. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your state representative, tell your Congress, tell your Senate leaders, tell your House of Representatives. Hell, President Trump. I don't give a fuck what. Anthony Aerobis, great show, fellas. Thanks again. Again, we apologize for technical difficulties. We strive to be better. Cole County Entertainment Network. Fuji, thanks so much for joining me tonight.
You're welcome. I'd like to thank everybody for coming on, all our guests.
Who were they? We'll just leave it at that. We want to thank all of our guests. Enjoy the NFL weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy it. Don't look for me this weekend. I'm not going to get a hold of me. Fuji, again, thanks, my man.
Anytime, and go Birds.
Go Birds.